I've got a friend of mine, his name's Joe. He kind of has this eternal complex where he believes that God is going to forsake someone based on maybe an accident. He responded by saying, I know that you guys love me, and I know that the community that you have is vibrant, and I know that the reason that you're in the positions you're in is because Jesus and God put you in those positions. I want that. But he left that conversation going.
This week on the Reach Podcast. All right, everybody. Hey, welcome back to the Reach Podcast. I am joined this week by Ryan Aldridge. Ryan works for Search Ministries right here in Fort Worth, Texas. And man, I really appreciate you being here. Seriously, Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm a hometown boy. Get to be get the benefits of doing it local.
Up the stakes. You don't have to fly in. No, it's gonna be great. So let's get right into it. We're gonna talk about a conversation that you've had. So set up this conversation. What's going on?
Yeah, so I've got a friend of mine. His name's Joe, and he has come to a forum before, or came to most of the forum series. I've been friends with him for a long, long time, and he is a pretty prominent businessman in our town, and we have many, many mutual friends and connections. And what's really fun about Joe is that he is vehemently opposed to the Christian life,
Really?
but follows or is friends with all of these Christians and acknowledges that they have something that he doesn't, and has heard it over and over again. And so this is a conversation that I had with Joe actually on a fishing trip that I took one time with him and my friend, one of my other buddies, compadres that is chasing after Joe. And this is a conversation where Joe kind of acknowledges that he is needs something different in his life.
Okay. Well, so so tell us about the conversation.
Yeah. So Joe and I are sitting there on the bank, and we're sitting there, and he is basically says, I can't believe in a God that would look at my daughter and leave her to despair just because she doesn't make it to the right youth camp or make it to the youth group that night, or if she, God forbid, gets in a car wreck or whatever. And so he kind of has this like eternal complex where he believes that God is going to forsake someone based on maybe an accident.
Okay.
And so long story short, or maybe just to keep going a little bit, is that, I said, well, Joe, why do you think God wouldn't chase after your daughter with relentlessly? Like, what makes you what is it about his character that you think he would give up on her, or give up on you? And he said, I just, why would God not just fix it? Like, why would he leave it up to chance for me or my daughter to choose, to come to a decision about him?
Yeah.
And so as we, kept sitting there and we're fishing and hanging out, and I said, Joe, I wonder if it's that you maybe don't have a full, it seems like you don't have a full trust in what God's bigger plan is. Like, if, are you a type A guy? And he's like, of course I'm a type A guy. I'm a businessman. I'm organized. I'm very, intentional about everything I do. And I was like, so you don't see the bigger picture of what God's doing, and you can't trust him. And so Joe says, well, yeah, I mean, it would be so much easier if he would just give me the vision for the plan of my life, and it'd be so much easier for me to believe him if I knew that it was all laid out and I could see how it was going to be safe. And I was like, well, Joe, tell me this. Tell me about your most recent business venture. Did you have it all laid out? Did you have it all? You probably had a plan, but did everything go according to plan? Did was everything perfect? Did the, whatever the closing or the, contracts or whatever, have you ever had it fall through and not go the way you wanted it because you can't plan for everything? You can't plan for, he's like, yeah. And I was like, just because you don't have the full knowledge of everything that could possibly go wrong in your life or go wrong in a business deal doesn't mean you don't lean into it, because ultimately you trusted that was a good thing for you. He's like, yeah, but I just don't love how it seems like there's no way we can know. We just have to, almost like a blind faith.
Hey everyone, I'm so glad you're listening to the Reach podcast. Reach is brought to you by Search, a ministry that helps you share Jesus. If you like what you're hearing, you'll love the Reach series. The Reach series is our new self-paced video course that gives you what you need to build relationships and have conversations about Jesus in a way that fits you. It won't cost you anything, so check it out today at reachothers.org. Now, let's get back to the podcast.
Is he talking about to know what's the plan for my life, or to know that God is real or Jesus is real, or some of those things, or both?
I think his biggest thing that he wants to know is that God is who he says he is, and that he can be trusted for everything that he claims. He kind of, his holdback is just like, it's too loose out there. I can't even know enough to put my trust in that.
Got it. Okay.
And he would even say, he's like, he's looking at me and my friend, and as we're fishing, he's like, I want what you guys have. I wish I could believe the way you believe. I wish I could just come to a place where my mind kind of wrapped itself around the idea and it was enough for me, but it isn't right now.
Yeah.
It was good to hear, because he's really honest with himself. And one of the things I love about what happens next is that my friend Buddy actually looks him in the eyes and he goes, "Joe, why do you think I'm on this fishing trip?" And Joe's like, he's literally almost a professional fisherman at this point.
Yeah.
He's like, "That's why you're on this trip, right?" And he's like, "No, Joe, I'm on this trip for you." He's like,
"Whoa."
He's like, "I'm on this trip because I want you to know and believe and see that we are willing to go to great lengths to tell you about this Savior, to tell you about our God. And these are just, these links pale in comparison to what God does for you."
Yeah.
And, Joe stayed quiet for a good long while as he's kind of thinking about that, because ultimately, Buddy and I are really close. He knows Search. He knows our methodology. He knows, all the stories in Luke 15 and that God goes after the one. And I just love that it was a bold, straight up claim. It wasn't like, we're going to play for the next conversation or we're going to wait to see how he was just like, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm here because I'm trying to mimic Jesus directly to you.
And so how did he respond to that?
He responded by saying, I know that you guys love me, and I know that the community that you have is vibrant, and I know that you base everything in your life on that. The reason that you're in the positions you're in is because Jesus and God put you in those positions, and he's like, and I want that. But he left that conversation going, I'm just not ready. I just don't know yet. And one of the reasons I kind of wanted to share this story is because it's not a story of success yet. But partially is because too is that I know that God cares about Joe deeply and relentlessly. And I have continued to watch Joe show up every week in one of my foundations groups since that moment. And this is where this is where the long game comes into play.
Okay.
And when we go, okay, that conversation happened in last September. So we're now 9 months later, approximately. And 2 weeks ago, in my foundations group, we're talking in John 5, where Jesus looks at the Pharisees and he says, you're trying to find salvation in the law, in the scriptures, where it's not. It's actually in me and the one who in the one who sent me. And Joe, quote unquote, says, man, I think I'm ready to look into Jesus' words more. It seems like he was intentionally stirring the pot to provoke a response and to show that he was doing something different.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there like, okay, you're ready to, okay, let's do it, man.
But it took a while.
It took 9 months.
Yeah.
9 months of him coming to a group, pushing back, kicking questions, being a perfect skeptic in a group of, quiet people. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, okay. And he's like, no, I don't believe that yet. Or why, that's not okay.
Yeah.
And I just am so thankful to get to be a part of a organization that leans into the idea that, we're not going to give up just because we try and someone doesn't respond the way we hope they do.
Yeah.
Because God doesn't give up on us ever. And so I cannot wait to continue to watch what happens in Joe's life. So
It'll be fun, and if he ends up crossing the line of faith, you got to come back and tell us, because that would be a cool part 2 to this story. As I'm listening, just kind of landing the plane here, what's the one takeaway that you want somebody listening to be able to go remember from this conversation and then maybe apply to their life?
Yeah. We all have friends that are somewhere on that spectrum of I'm totally out to I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And we desperately want them to make that choice to say, no, I do believe this now. I believe that Jesus died on the cross for us. But I think if I had to encourage the folks at home, I would say, don't play for the touchdown. Be okay with we gained 1 yard today. I watched Joe 9 months later go, I am interested in what Jesus is saying about this. That is provocative. That was his exact quote. That's provocative. And I go, oh, God's reeling him in.
Yeah.
I'm watching it in real time. And so be willing to celebrate the things that go, man, I care about my friend. I want him to know Jesus. I'm bold enough to tell him, like my friend Buddy, who is bold enough to say, I'm here because God wants me to tell you that you need Jesus. But also, once he says no, we don't walk away. We stay in it.
Yeah.
You stay in it with him.
Yeah.
Because that's what God calls us to do. He calls us to be relational. He calls us to be with each other and to walk through the hard things in life. And to say, ultimately, if you put your trust in Jesus, those hard things, you have hope in those hard things, but you also know that I'm going to be a mimicker. I'm going to be an image of who Jesus is to you in the way that I treat you.
I think that is really, really a great takeaway. For real. It's something we can't hear enough, and it's so counterintuitive that we just kind of always have to be remembered to not give up on people. And so thank you for reminding us of that. And thanks thank you for sharing the story.
You're welcome.
This is great. So maybe we will do it again.
Maybe.
Real soon. That would be fun. We'll see. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Reach Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. That'd be a good idea. Share it with a friend and leave us a review to help others find the podcast. Now, for more resources, please visit reachothers.org and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and we'd love to hear from you.